Hi, this is Crystal Davis. Today I wanted to shoot a video for the members of my current class called Finding Your Divine Message for More Clients, More Money, and More Life. As I go through teaching, and we are actually on week 4, this is 2018, the reason I'm saying all that is I really expect to be able to use this content as a green content that I can use over and over and over again. Because as we are endeavoring to step into our higher purpose and really shine our light and allowing ourselves to be a divine conduit, or as I like to call them, divine downloads, that's really the key. If you think about it, no matter what you want to manifest, when you are that open conduit, allowing the divine energy to flow with and through you, you receive. The mind becomes this receiving dish for the idea. And not only the idea, but the next step. What is your next step upon your life path in order to create the business and life you love? Again, for more clients, more money, and more life. You know, I think at the core of it for me, and my message and my work, and not only for you, my clients, but for myself, is again this concept of being able to download and be present, because everything really comes from that place. Yet what we have been conditioned to do, and the word condition just simply means that we do this because of habit, because of a belief set that we not only see ourselves, but we look around us, and the world at large operates on the concept of just do it. Or even we've begun to say, well, just be positive. Yet when we're really connected to the divine energies, we remember our true, years ago, one of my mentors said, you're not a human doing, you're a human being. And so truly, when we learn to practice our truth, being connected to our true selves, to our divinity, to whatever you want to call that, be it God, universe, source, whatever it is for you personally, but the key point is being connected. And so being able to download from there, we are being our authentic selves, and that's where human design comes in. So for those of you in class, right, you have your human designs, and we've been talking about your designs. We've been talking about how you're here to receive in a particular way, and particular being divine giving and giving of ourselves, but first learning to receive. As we receive from the universe divine downloads, then we give strategically in the way that's ours to give. So we become really super laser focused upon who am I here to be, what am I here to do, and what am I here to have. Okay, so it centers from this place of beingness first. So the just do it philosophy is really flawed from that perspective of, if you're not crystal clear on the inside of who you're here to be first, then do and then have, right? We all usually have it backwards, right? We're saying, okay, what do I want to have? Which actually is the way I teach it, right? Because that's the way we're conditioned. What would I love to have? Because but yet when we raise our bar, raise our understanding to a beingness, then we realize that really does come first. Even though we sort of have to work ourselves into that, again, because of conditioning over time. Okay, so divine downloads. So in particular, what I want those of you that are in class with me right now, and those of you that are going to be receiving this video as maybe your first step in realization of who you're here to be, that we're really here to create a relationship with, again, our higher selves. And the way that we create that relationship is by helping the part of ourselves that has been conditioned to just do it, to feel safe. So there's 2 strategies today that I want to share about helping you to feel safe, to be connected with all that is. I really know and believe that we're all moving into the space where being connected is, and who we're being is going to take forefront in the first step. But in order to get there, we have to learn to be safe. So the first practice, and there, like I said, there are two today that I want to share. The very first practice is helping your inner child to feel safe. Because in order for you and I to become this divine conduit, we have to realize that we have an inner child. And so there's really two parts of ourselves. There's the part of ourself that we're used to, we're comfortable with, and that is really our inner child. The part of ourself that has felt unseen, unheard, and misunderstood. And often, because we're in a relationship with that inner child that we're not yet comfortable with, the way that comes up and presents itself is, I feel bad about myself. I feel guilty. I feel anger, frustration. With human design, I want to mention just two, because those of you in class are manifesting generators or generators. That's two of the 5 types in the human design. So the way for a generator it shows up is frustration. You feel frustrated with life. And that really, whenever you feel frustrated as a generator, that is your inner child saying, I'm frustrated. There's something not working with them, right? They feel this high level of frustration that life isn't working out for you, or the business that you do have, for those of you that are in business, the business you feel frustrated by having to help people out. And maybe even your clients, feel frustrated with your clients, or feel frustrated that you don't have enough time for your business because your family is needing something from you. You feel that you're always trying to please other people and not yourself. So that level of frustration for the generator, inner child, the inner child saying, hey, and this reminds me of the movie Shrek, where you see Donkey, if you've seen that movie, or if you haven't, it's okay. But Donkey in the movie is, pick me. When we're feeling the emotions that we're feeling, and it doesn't matter, you're being triggered, whether you're acknowledging that frustration as a generator, and for manifesting generator, it's both frustration, because you're a generator, and a manifester. So you manifesting generator, frustration and anger. And that's just not to say the generator can't feel angry, because we're all in this society where anger is something that we've kind of, again, been conditioned into. But again, typical response for the generator is frustration, for the manifesting generator, anger and frustration. Okay, but both of those emotions just are 2 examples I'm sharing with those of you in class and those of you that now are listening to this video, to begin to understand that when you feel those emotions, that it's really, what I want to invite, the first strategy is to invite you to see yourself. Just close your eyes. Let's take a deep breath together, and always breathe in through the nose. I want to breathe out through the mouth. But as you do that, just imagine yourself, whatever comes up for you. Imagine when you're feeling frustrated, what do you see? Is it a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, typically the inner child? Because that's where we were programmed, right, to be angry. And we're first programmed to be frustrated and angry because we don't know ourselves. And secondly, programmed to just be happy. So don't feel that emotion or bury that emotion deep down inside of you, which makes the frustration and the anger all that more powerful. So as you breathe in with me now, just what are you picturing? But picture whatever you can, do that. And if you're not ready right now, come back to this part of this video and invite yourself to experience and just allow your inner child to present itself. Here's another key strategy before we do this, or a key point. And I've shared this with you, those of you in class, but it's a good reminder. Often, because we have put up really a barricade between the self that is just do it and taking the action steps here today, that part of us that just feels pushed to go do things, and the part of you that is hammering and screaming and, really maybe you can call it throwing a temper tantrum, is much like This past summer, one of my nieces had a cat, and I reached my hand into this cage to the cat, and the cat was really skittish and really wanted me. I could tell it kind of wanted me to pet it, but yet it was really distancing itself from me. It was at the back of the cage, and so I didn't push it. Okay, so this is important. Much like that cat or that animal we've all maybe have experienced that isn't quite ready to have a relationship with you. Picture your inner child that way. Because here we've gone, some of us, 5, 6 decades. I've gone over 4 decades of, until, in the last few years, really beginning to create a relationship. So for those of you that have been focused out there on the world and conditioning on what other people want from you and people pleasing, and you've really kind of had that door shut, maybe a lid clamped down between yourself and that relationship with your inner child. So it's like that skittish animal that's at the back of the cage going, can I trust this person that is now extending a hand toward me? Can I trust this person? So while they're angry or frustrated or having sadness and all kinds of emotions, which is what causes the lid at times to blow off of the surface, right? When we get really pushed to the limit in our lives, it's the inner child saying, I've had enough. I'm going to explode right here, right now. So these strategies that I'm sharing with you today are for you to help you to begin to have that part of you that has felt closed off from you and from life. You're beginning to extend the hand, okay? So take whatever step is yours. Some of you have worked with me longer. Your inner child has more of a relationship with you. But think about this from a relational aspect, right? You wouldn't go out to a stranger on the street, even though this is your inner child. Some of them feel much like the stranger on the street that you do not know and they don't understand. You don't understand them, and they're not comfortable with you yet. Okay, so put that in perspective for yourself. So let's take a deep breath together, and I just want you to begin to see what you picture. Okay, breathe in through the nose. Deep, deep, deep breath, and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Just imagine this child. Again, whether it's a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old, or older. What are you seeing your inner child do right now? Just notice. See, there's a part of you that you're experiencing now that can just observe and notice the inner child. Again, beginning to observe is just acknowledging she or he and saying, I know you're there. Just notice, observe, and what is it that you see? Now allowing yourself, as you're observing, allowing that inner child to maybe she just picks up her head and looks at you. And maybe, for those of you that is ready, you can give her a big hug. Just notice whatever it is for you. The most important thing is to observe and give space to that inner child that's inside of you to just be acknowledged. And the part of you, your higher self, can just simply acknowledge that inner child and send your love to her or him. Just send your love, and it's an invitation. This is, again, like extending your hand out to that part of yourself and just letting them know that you're there. And you may say out loud to them, I'm here for you. I love you. I love you beyond measure. As you notice, just notice what they're doing, whether they're ready to maybe take your hand, whether they're ready for even you to embrace them. And maybe you can do that as I'm doing now, just embracing yourself and saying, I love you. You know, I love you, Crystal. And insert your name. I love you. I love you, dear one, dear inner child. I love you. Just really creating that warmth, that space for her or him to just reach out back to you. This is a deep place of acknowledgement that you find yourself in right now. Again, whatever is showing up with your inner child, that's an important first step for you to take. And you can repeat that process over and over again, depending on how close of a relationship you have with your inner child. The more and more you repeat those steps, again, we're just extending a hand, making the acknowledgement right now of love. And observing them, acknowledging them is the first step, because you're allowing them to say, you know, am I frustrated? They may share frustration or anger or sadness with you. That's the first step. Allowing the anger, the emotion, the sadness, the frustration, whatever it may be for you, is the first step. So when you find yourself triggered in the world, allow yourself to feel that anger is acknowledging and embracing your inner child. So it's not about acknowledging that somebody else made you angry. It's about acknowledging that your inner child feels angry. What happens in the world out there is purely and truly just a mirror for you to see yourself. Okay, so the second strategy is called tapping. For those of you that may be already familiar with tapping, this is going to be really easy for you. For those of you where tapping is new for you, I invite you to just take a step with me today for seeing how tapping can support you and, again, your inner child. Again, wherever you are right here, right now, is perfect. It's where you are meant to be, and it's divine. You're exactly where you need to be. Okay, so I'm going to give you 4 tapping statements and kind of go through the tapping with you. I'm not going to go through the details of tapping per se, but I want to give you 4 tapping statements, and I want to demonstrate for you. So all you really need to do is to follow what I do and do this for yourself, okay? What tapping does, and the reason it's so powerful, is it's tapping on meridian points in the body that literally help to rewire your brain. And it helps you to strengthen the relationship that you've already just begun to open up to with your inner child. Because, and the reason tapping is so really powerful is, in fact, if the inner child work was a little too much for you, tapping helps you to simply open up to your emotions. You don't even have to be aware that you have an inner child to do tapping. But because you're tapping on your emotions and allowing yourself to feel whatever emotion